Disney fans around the world swear movies like Mulan and Moana are the studio's best, but its newest edition, Raya and the Last Dragon, is fighting for that top spot. We've found major similarities between our newest warrior princess Raya and Mulan and Moana's stories that we'll never be able to unsee. Which got us thinking, will this make her the best of both worlds, or just a repeat? Let's find out.
Wait, you touched this gem piece and it gave you powers.
Mulan and Raya both wield a weapon that looks a little too similar to be a coincidence. The sword we see Raya use to fight is almost identical to the sword Mulan is given by the Emperor after saving China.
You fight good.
Okay, we might just be acting a bit dramatic, but you can't deny the similarities. Just look at the shape of the blade and the design of the guard. Whether it was intentional or not, one thing's for sure, these two warriors are resourceful with any weapons they get their hands on.
Don't die.
If you weren't obsessed with Eddie Murphy's version of Mushu as a kid, did you even watch Mulan? The hilarious dragon that helped Mulan on her adventures until the very end.
Come on, who did a good job? Come on, tell me who did a good job.
Well, people couldn't help but notice that Raya also has a dragon companion who's also voiced by a comedian. Awkwafina brought Raya's sidekick Sisu to life, and we have to admit the energy she brings to the screen is basically the female version of Eddie Murphy. We can definitely see how people might think that these characters are one and the same.
I just shape changed. Dragons can do that?
Wait, there are more similarities when it comes to Raya's sidekicks. So we know Moana starts off her journey past the horizon alone, but then realizes she has to work with her stowaway friend Heihei, Maui, and even gets help from the ocean. Raya's journey is eerily similar. She starts off alone, but soon puts together a whole team of misfits. It gets even more identical. Raya's companion Tuk Tuk is voiced by the same actor who brought Moana's Heihei to life, Alan Tudyk. Their two-syllable names are even similar.
I went to Juilliard.
If there's one thing that's hot at Disney and Disney Studios right now, it's female independence. Long gone are the times where princesses depend on their prince to help save the day. Arguably, Mulan was the first example of this new vision. Sure, she fell in love with Li Shang, but he wasn't the one who saved China, was he? We also saw it in Moana. She actually had no love interest whatsoever.
You are not my hero.
But that didn't make the movie any less entertaining. In fact, you can probably say it made it more unique. Well, Raya followed right in their footsteps. She'll stop at nothing to reunite Kumandra, even if that means finding the last dragon all by herself. If they did take inspiration from Mulan and Moana in this department, we're not gonna complain about them giving princesses more agency in 2021. We should be celebrating.
Hello? Sisu? We need you.
The whole premise of Moana is her becoming the fearless leader she wants to be for her people. She sets out on her journey to reunite the goddess Tefiti with the Stone Heart in order to save Montanui and its people. Raya has the exact same goal. Find the last dragon and order will be restored amongst her people. If we look even further into this, it's almost like they're searching for their culture's identity by correcting the mistakes of their ancestors.
Our world's broken.
We all know how important the blossoms were in Mulan. They're in her hairpiece, under the tree where she has a heart-to-heart with her father, and she's even compared to the flower. Not to mention the flower hairpiece is what she leaves her father before running off. For Raya, flowers are also very symbolic. They're also above where she talks with her father and pop up in a bunch of other places across the film. There's no doubt that Mulan and Raya both have strong bonds with their fathers. While their relationships may be different in nature, they're still both huge factors in both films. But what we were more taken aback by was how similar the imagery between Mulan and her father was to Raya and her father.
I am ready to serve the Emperor.
In a different way, Moana's relationship with her dad matches Raya and her father's as well. The father figure in both movies is the reason why they set out on their journey. Sure, Moana does it despite her father's wishes, and Raya does it because of her father's influence, but they're both in very similar situations. Not to mention, they're both inheriting broken kingdoms from their dads.
This is how we help our people. Dad?
Raya and the Last Dragon might take place in the fantasy world of Kumandra, but that doesn't mean that it isn't based on a real-life location. Raya's character and land take on a huge representation of Southeast Asian culture, and Disney wanted to make sure that they got all the details right. That's why their creative team spent weeks traveling to places like Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, Indonesia, and the Philippines.
You're getting a little too big for this, bud.
Their writers even worked alongside the Southeast Asia Story Trust and had to get all their art and designs approved by the cultural workers in Indonesia. Guess what? The brains behind Moana had almost an identical research process. They traveled to Polynesia and worked with the Oceanic Trust that was made up of anthropologists and cultural professionals, and traveled to islands like Samoa and Fiji. Everything, right down to The Rock's groundbreaking You're Welcome performance, was thought out by this group. Safe to say, there's a reason why Disney is one of the most popular production companies. Martial arts and the importance it has on Chinese culture is a huge part of Mulan's story. The Chinese warrior she is based on, Hua Mulan, was said to be an expert at martial arts after all. And in the live-action version that was released by Disney, they made sure to work with professionals so they could have accurate choreography. Well, for Raya, martial arts is just as important.
My sword here says we're not.
She was trained all her life in order to defend the Dragon Gem. A martial arts consultant that worked on Raya and the Last Dragon says that if you pay close enough attention, you can catch a bunch of different Southeast Asian martial arts practices. Could Raya be taking over as the world's most popular warrior princess? The 1998 Mulan did get a lot of criticism for not being respectful of Chinese culture, so we can totally see Raya getting bonus points for being more aware of what they're showing on the screen.
Seriously?
Speaking of ancestors, Mulan, Moana, and Raya are all based on real-life cultural mythology. Mulan was, of course, loosely based on the myth of the Chinese warrior Hua Mulan. Moana isn't included in any Polynesian tales, but the demigod Maui is. He's been part of their folklore for thousands of years. And for Raya, her tale isn't based on one specific Southeast Asian story, but more of a combination from multiple different countries' mythology. The theme of mythology even comes into play in the actual film. Both Moana and Raya are basing their journeys on the land's folk tales and history.
I never should have put so much on your shoulders.
We talked a little bit about how Moana and Raya's movies had basically the exact same research strategy, and well, it probably has to do with the fact that Moana and Raya and the Last Dragon have the exact same producers. Even just by taking a glimpse at the trailer for Raya and the Last Dragon, you can see similarities in the animation and coloring.
To do in the film is nothing less than save the world.
What do you think? Is Raya too similar to Mulan and Moana? Or is it just the right amount? We're thinking that these shared qualities might help her pave her own way, straight to the top of the Disney princess chain. Looks like it could be another one for the Disney history books, right? Either way, it's still pretty amazing that Disney is giving us all new princess warriors. Let us know if you noticed even more similarities between Raya and any other animated faves.